Hello everyone, I'm Rodney from 3dgameman.com and welcome to another video review. Today I am looking at the NZXT or NZXT, whatever you prefer, H440 case. Now this is the special edition case that's designed by Razer. So let's unbox it and have a look. Now Razer is all about the green color. If you're into Razer products, you'll probably love this case. As you can see, it does have these green theme accents. The box, well, it's green and black, your typical Razer theme colors. Lots of pictures as well as features and specifications on it. Now let's open it up and see what's inside. Your typical case packaging material, styrofoam on either end, and the case itself is in a plastic bag. Included is a couple of Razer stickers, a user's manual, and the window that's on the side has this protective plastic on it. There's also protective plastic here on the logo that glows at the front. And this little window that's on the inside here. They include this little box and in it a bunch of plastic cable ties, actually lots of them. That's good to see, to organize the cables. Lots of screws for installing all of your computer goodness. A little brochure here showing you some of their products. And oh, look at this. A case badge. This is a mid-tower case comprised mainly of steel and plastic. You have got a matte black as well as glossy trim on this. I love the overall look and feel of this all the way around on the outside as well as on the inside. You can see on the left side you've got a very large window. Their logo at the front, which indeed does glow. On the top panel along the left as well as at the back, they have this ventilation, plus this top panel can be removed. I'll show you that in just a second. Also, the front panel can be removed. At the top you have the reset button plus a power button which doubles as an LED. You've got an LED around the outside. Here are the audio jacks for the microphone and headphones, 2 USB 3 ports and 2 USB 2 ports. The right side panel is plain, but note the ventilation along the right side of the front panel. There's also a pull point at the bottom, which kind of doubles as an area for ventilation, and you pull there to remove the front panel. Note though that there is one single cable which you can very easily disconnect like so, and that's handy. This actually powers the LED at the front. With the front panel removed, you can see that they do include a very large dust filter. This is held into place with tube magnets at the top and it's grooved in at the bottom. Very nifty. They include 3 FNV2 120mm intake fans. Now optionally you can install up to 2 140mm fans, and you can have radiators that go anywhere from 120 all the way up to 360. And note the cable management holes, and they will be throughout this case. Now this case has a fair amount of acoustic dampening material, so it's going to be a pretty quiet case overall, as opposed to, cases that don't have any acoustic dampening material whatsoever. You can see here that it is just on the inside of the front panel. It's also on the left panel, plus it's on the right panel, and there's acoustic dampening material on the top panel. And to show you it, I will remove the top panel. This is a little bit tricky. You have to kind of pull at the back and at the front. But voila, it is off. Comes off in one piece. No cables attached at all. And here's the acoustic dampening material. No fans included here at the top, but you can put up to 3 120mm or up to 2 140mm fans. Optionally, you can have a radiator that is anywhere from 120 all the way up to 360. Note the grooved holes here, which is good, so you can just move the fans a little bit or the radiators a little bit if required. Plus, again, you've got cable management holes at the top. At the back of the case, they have a little switch for an LED that's just above where the I/O ports are. The motherboard tray gets installed here. Very convenient, especially when you have the case, like for example, underneath a desk or somewhere that is dark. They include a 140mm fan at the back of the case. This one exhausts the warm air that's inside the case. Alternatively, you could install a 120 here, or you can install a 120 or 140 radiator. They include 7 ventilated expansion slots, extra ventilation right here, a couple of rubber grommets holes for water cooling tubes and/or cables, And at the bottom is where you install a standard ATX power supply. They have a bracket. These brackets are becoming very popular. I remember back in the Lee days, I think they kind of pioneered it. All of the Lee cases at the time had these, power supply brackets on them. All you do is you take this off, mount this to the power supply, then slide the whole thing in. Very, very convenient. And each side panel comes with a couple of thumb screws. And actually, these don't come all the way out. Very convenient because you don't have them kicking around. You don't lose them that way. They also have little rubber washers on them, and that's to prevent vibrations, also to prevent the thumb screws from damaging the side panels. And at the bottom, they include a removable dust filter, and of course, this is for the power supply's intake fan. Okay, so let's have a look on the inside. This case fits mini ATX, micro ATX, and standard ATX form factor motherboards. As you can see, there is a large hole on the motherboard tray for the cooler's retention plate, plus plenty of punch outs and cable management holes so you can organize the cables behind the motherboard tray. Now I'll go over the dimensions, the space behind the motherboard tray and the right side panel, plus the video card length and the cooler height in just a minute. The expansion slots, they have thumb screws on those. And by the way, you can fit up to 6 3.5-inch drives or up to 8 2.5-inch drives. Impressive, right? Now I call this a window before. It's not really a window. Windows you can see through. This one you can't. It's plastic, basically. Meant to look cool. I mean, this is a shroud or a shield that, well, prevents you from seeing all the ugliness, the power supply and all the cables underneath there. Oh, and they have their logo stamped on the motherboard tray. Now let's go through the measurements. As for height behind the motherboard tray to route cables, well, that varies anywhere from 17.7 all the way up to 32.5 millimeters. The cooler height is 180 millimeters. Now as for video card length, well, that's going to vary. It depends on whether you have the drive cage installed or not. Without the drive cage installed, you can have a video card that is up to 406.2 millimeters in length. With the drive cage installed, though, you can have a video card that is up to 294 millimeters in length. Here you can install two 2.5-inch drives. These mounts come out like so. Just remove the thumb screw, mount the drive on there, slide it back into place, and then put the thumb screw back. Now have a look from this vantage point. You can kind of see the drive trays here, as well as some of the cable management holes. Well, they have rubber grommets on them. With the right side panel removed, let's have a look behind the motherboard tray. There's a little controller board here. This is for all of the LEDs, as well as a fan controller. You can have up to 10 3-pin fans on. This is the main power lead here. Again, all of these holes for routing the cables through and punch outs for attaching them. And here's where you would install either 2.5-inch or 3.5-inch drives. These are metal drive rails. To remove them, just unscrew the thumb screws. And by the way, these are like the ones that are on the side panels. They don't come off all the way. They also have rubber washers on them to prevent from, scratching the drive rail, plus cut down on the vibration. Now, speaking of that, they have little rubber washers here for mechanical drives. Install the drive on it. Now you have to line this up at the back first, push it in, and attach the thumb screws, and away you go. At the bottom of the case, they have 4 tall feet with rubber inserts. That's good. It will keep the case up off of the surface. Now, if you're wondering what these white strips are, they're actually LED strips, and of course, they are green to give you that glowing effect underneath the case. We'll test how loud the fans are in just a minute, but I want to show you all of the LEDs that are on this case. You have the switch at the back here which controls all of the LEDs, so you can have them all on or off. Note that there's one right here, as well as another one here, and throughout the bottom, as well as at the front. Oh, and look here, even this Razer logo glows. A little interruption here in this video review to bring you a word from my sponsor, Antec. They currently have a new power supply line, the Edge series. They come in 3 different models, 550 watt, 650 watt, and 750 watt. You can check them out at www.antec.com. Now, back to the video review. Finally, have a listen to the stock fans. This special edition H440 case that's designed by Razer looks extremely sharp and it's jam-packed full of excellent features. However, it is a little bit on the expensive side, but I think it would be a must-have for any Razer fan. This black and green theme does look pretty darn cool. And something else that looks just super cool is this asphalt satin matte black finish. Oh, beautiful to look at and just, well, outstanding to touch. It does not attract fingerprints hardly at all, which is excellent. Can't understand why any manufacturer would go with, you know, all glossy or mostly glossy products, because, well, they're going to attract fingerprints like nobody's business, plus dust. Sure, I mean, for a case, once you're finished installing stuff, you're not going to be touching a lot, but you're going to get dust on it, aren't you? They do have some glossy trim here on it, though, but I think this, you know, matte black with a little bit of gloss kind of works. Look at this. Left panel has a big, huge window on it. I mean, it is gorgeous. Now, price might be one negative in this case, but if you're looking for a top-notch mid-tower case, you're going to expect to pay anywhere from $150 to $200. Now, I know some people will say that this is a negative. It does not have a 5 1/4 inch drive bay. Well, folks, please get over that fact, because not having any 5 1/4 inch drive bays, you know, the external drives, will give you a whole ton of space inside the case that you didn't have before. And you know what? I would rather take that space than have a case that comes with a 5 1/4 inch drive bay. If you need a ODD or optical disc drive, just get an external one. Overall, this is a 100% kick-ass product. Until next time, take care.